Hey, good morning. Steve Aaron's Fast Five Friday coming to you today with a video edition because reading is overrated. No, that's not true. We just thought maybe it would be easier today. You've got a lot going on and you could listen to this quickly and get on with your day. Anything I talk about, I'll put a link in the email and you can check it out later. The first thing I want to talk about is an update on the COVID vaccine situation in Missouri. As of Monday, starting Monday, the state has announced that the Phase 1B Tier 2 high-risk individuals will be eligible for vaccinations. Now that is anyone age 65 or over, or adults with pre-existing conditions such as cancer, or there's a list of those pre-existing conditions out there, those what they call comorbidities. That is Phase 1B Tier 2. The previous phase was the medical workers, the people who keep us safe. They were in the first phase. Second phase is an at-risk population, including 65 or older, or adults with comorbidities. And then the third phase after that is actually Phase 1B Tier 3, obviously a government program. Phase 1B Tier 3, the energy sector, which is our industry, falls into that. There's no estimate on when that will open up right now. We don't really know. We do know that in the energy sector, propane companies are covered. It's not a job-specific entity, so if you're a driver, if you're an installer, if you're a CSR, office worker, anybody in the energy sector can sign up to get those when those are available. Now, the thing with the vaccine is it's very much like the propane business. It's a supply chain-driven operation. The folks who have the vaccines to give are notified on Thursday what they'll have on the next Monday. So they really are trying to work through the uncertainty of that supply chain. And it's incumbent upon the folks to get their vaccine to not be a will-call customer. You need to be a little out in front on this. Don't just sit back and think someone's going to knock on your door and give you a shot. You need to work with your local county health officials. I would call your county health office or get online in Jefferson City. I've gone to the Cole County Health Departments online and filled out the form. So whenever I bubble up into the right category, I guess they'll notify me. But I also get a hold of your physician to see how that works too. But again, the high-risk individuals start on Monday. You can get a note from your doctor, some documentation for your doctor, or they tell me this is largely the honor system as well. So I don't know that there'll be what kind of screening will go on. But again, high risk starts Monday. Comorbidities, pre-existing conditions start Monday for adults. That's there. The propane sector starts at some point, but we're the next group after the group on Monday. So be prepared for that. That's the first thing on Fast Five Friday. The second thing is hours of service. I've had a couple of calls about lines and supply. And I will continue to look at that this week, today. Now today is a Friday, and I think is Monday a federal holiday. I think it's going to be a little tough on a Friday, before a federal holiday with the inauguration coming up, to get anyone to budge to do anything, but we're going to see where we're at. I will tell you that the DOT has already turned down a request based on coronavirus knocking out drivers, exacerbating the driver shortage issue. They've said that doesn't qualify for hours of service. I do know there's probably a little hard feeling still at the agency because a year or two ago, folks went around the agency and got an hours of service, which really stung them, and they remembered that, and hopefully we don't pay the price for that. But I know that's still out there. So hours of service is an issue. We'll take a look at that. I don't know what to tell you, again, based on where we're at in the calendar. The Friday before a federal holiday, before an inauguration, I don't know how we'd get something done, but I'm going to call. We'll find out what we're doing. It starts in Missouri. I'm talking about a federal regional hours of service waiver, but for a state waiver, it starts and ends with the Missouri State Highway Patrol. I'll talk to those guys. The first thing they do is they run by the terminals to see if there are in fact lines and see what the situation is, and then we go from there. So hours of service, looking at it, working on it. I'm not going to try to give anyone any thought that will happen anytime soon. So that's hours of service, point number 2. Point number 3, I'm looking out the window and it's snowing, and it's not the time of year anyone needs to give you a lesson or a sermon on how to take care of your customers. This is exactly the time of year when they decide whether they want to do business with you, and you maybe decide whether you want to do business with them. But this is the time of year when you're on top of things, and we're grateful for the fact that we have an overwhelmingly success rate in keeping customers happy and safe. There's always some issue out there, but let's keep our eye on the ball and keep folks supplied. For the first time, I used an online system to order propane from my supplier. Ordered it on January 1st. I think I had a truck in the driveway on the 8th, which was fine with me. And so life moves on, and trying to keep those folks on the top half of the tank. The ones that are in trouble, you know who they are. Let's work with them as well, just to keep things rolling smoothly. Item number 4, MOPERC. Some exciting things going on with MOPERC that we haven't really talked about, but I want you to know about. They're not actionable today. The fiscal year for the council starts July 1st, so we're trying to plan for that. But 2 things in particular I just want to give you a heads up on. One is we're looking at instituting in at least 2 technical colleges in the state of Missouri. One would be State Tech in Lynn, and the other is a college in Jefferson County. We're trying to have like a super CTEP type program, which would be some student who's taking an HVAC curriculum, for example, could get a certificate in LPG technology. That's the operating terms for it right now. It could change. But when they roll out with their 2-year degree, they could work for a propane company and an installer, or an HVAC company as an installer in that position, and know about propane. And our goal here is pretty, the bar I'm going to start with is a little low. If that student remembers not to set an air conditioner next to a regulator, I think we've won. So all the things that Mike talks about in his classes to those students, and he talks to those students a lot, we're going to try to get maybe a more in-depth set of instruction for a smaller number of students, but see what comes of that over time. So we're excited about that program. And also, just a little side note, I'll note that if you have a high school building trades class that's working on a propane home, and this time of year they're not in that zone, but they might start working on this for next fall. So pay attention to your local high school or your local vocational center. If they're working on a building trades home, we would be happy to provide a propane furnace and a propane water heater at no cost to them, provided we can send someone up there to talk to those kids about propane training and safety, how to install it properly, line sizing, that whole class. Maybe a couple of hours just talking about propane basics. So keep that in mind. That's a program we call Tech Team, and the pandemic, when it shut down schools, really shut that down, and we didn't get it rolled out in any school except I think but one. So keep in mind Tech Team if you've got a high school that has a building trades project that's propane. We can help with the equipment, so let me know that. The second thing, I digress, the second thing that MOPERC is working on that maybe we should talk about now is a transit outreach program. Paratransit buses are like the Oates buses, for example. They're in, I think, just about every community. Those will burn about 600 gallons a month. For comparison, 600 gallons a year is a decent, I think a pretty good residential customer, but this is a government agency that's going to pay its bills, 600 gallons a month, and they pay on time. It's a good account. When we're dealing with allocation and shortages, it would be great to have that year-round load. So your council's trying to figure out how to get some shuttle buses that we can loan. We'll wrap them up. They'll look like, obviously identified as propane vehicles. There are great benefits to running on propane. Lower cost of ownership, lower maintenance, lower fuel, lots of good reasons to run on propane. Let a state or a county or a city agency use that for a couple of weeks. We'll figure out the refueling. But try to grow that market. There really is no transit operation in Missouri right now running on propane, which is interesting. A lot of school buses. Well, we're getting more school buses every day, but the paratransit area is a great area. So keep in mind, if you've got an opportunity in your community, reach out to me, let me know who they are. That won't start until July 1st, so do your homework today. The last thing I'll talk to you about is Propane Connect. It's a jobs board. If you're looking to hire, or if you're looking for a job in the propane industry, it's a website that matches jobs and job seekers. You should see in the next week or two in your local newspaper an ad. I think we're going either a little space ad or a little classified ad for job seekers to check it out, to post their resumes, or otherwise try to find work in our industry. And the same goes true for those folks in the industry looking for help. use that to look for workers in your area, people that might want to come to work for you if you need some help. That is a 5-state effort: Missouri, Kansas, Illinois, Arkansas, and Oklahoma, all joined together to create that. And that group also, that reminds me, is part of the Mid-States Propane Expo, which is July 25th through the 29th at the Hilton Convention Center down in Branson. We are so excited for that to come around again. We've got all the cool stuff. Charlie Moorcraft is the featured speaker, and I will tell you right now, it's a life-changing for some people. He has a fantastic safety presentation. That alone would be a reason to go down, but we'll have so much more and more about that later. But Propane Connect, I'll put a link to that elsewhere in this email. If you're looking for help, or if you got somebody who's looking for a job, let's match that up. That's it for me. Thanks for the privilege of representing you and helping out the propane industry. We hope you have a safe Friday and a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later.